and welcome to my new volume of True Audio Files. This one is basically just kind of a follow-up to my Record Store Day video showing you what I got for Record Store Day. And the big reason for that is I broke down and got a few more titles online the day after Record Store Day. Ones that I wanted and was kind of on the fence on, and ended up deciding to go for them instead. So, and one of them I'll explain why I went for it as well. Well, I'll probably do all of them. But anyways, let's go through what I have. I don't have a ton of them, so it's not going to be an incredibly long video, so you can kind of watch it and do your thing later. So, anyways, first up on the docket is Dr. John, Gris Gris Gumbo Ya Ya. Basically, it's his singles from 1968 to 1974. It's got Right Place, Wrong Time and a few others that are his most popular titles. And this also is on purple vinyl, which is kind of cool. Purple's one of my favorite colors, so that's kind of fun. But I really like Dr. John a lot, so I kind of had hesitated just because I knew it was going to be relatively expensive, because it's a dual LP, and most dual LPs for Record Store Day tend to be pretty pricey. So, but I broke down and got it. Next one up on the docket is Dead Milkman, Bucky Fellini. And this is basically a reissue of it. And I from what I understand, I guess it hasn't been issued since its first pressing in 1997. I actually have one of those 1997 pressings, so that was the initial reason why I had passed on it. And I'd also seen the price too, and decided that it really wasn't worth that extra money. But, two reasons I decided to go with it. Number one, my local store dropped the price of it after last week. So it made it a more reasonable, tempting offer, and I decided to go for it. But it's also basically 100% of the label profits go to charity on that too, so I figured it's kind of a win-win for that. So the next one was one that I was basically decided maybe an hour before I decided on what records I was going to buy that I was going to skip out on. And then I saw it as the last one was being taken to be put aside for someone, and regretted not getting it. So this was the one that I actually wanted to rush onto the online stores the next day to try to get, and I'm very happy that I did get it. But it's basically Eric Carr, Unfinished Business. I liked the last Record Store Day release they did. It kind of had the look of the old solo albums, and that was, I'm sure, what they were going for, so I thought that was pretty cool. And the music was pretty good too. The recordings weren't the greatest, but overall I did enjoy the music quite a bit. This one is going to be something I'm looking forward to, although the one thing I kind of am disappointed in is there's a lot of what I think are filler. It's basically Eric talking a lot, so not that that's necessarily bad, but I'd rather it be more music than talking. But one of the very cool things that really drew me to this that I didn't realize and didn't read into and know beforehand was that it has light up eyes. So this is a take on the Creatures of the Night album cover that he's on, and they have their eyes sort of kind of look like they light up on the cover. So but this one was a 2-record set, and I knew it was going to be kind of pricey, and it certainly was. And this is a big part of why, is also because of the light up eyes. So, but I couldn't resist, because that's just how I am. So, all right. Next one up was definitely one that I was pretty interested in. I can't say I'm a huge fan of this group, but I definitely liked their first couple of albums, and this one was supposed to be, I guess, their first album. I don't know a whole lot of history behind this record, but it's Lordi and his Monster Squad, Bend Over and Pray the Lord, and it's a music on vinyl, which they're usually pretty good, but I've had some hit or miss with their stuff. But it's also a limited edition. I have I guess number 134. I don't remember how many they made. I think it's 1,000, as it says on the front here. But it was super expensive. But I decided to get it anyways, just because I'm a glutton for punishment, and I shouldn't have spent. I like to spend money I shouldn't spend money on, or spend money on things I shouldn't spend money on. So, anyways, speaking of things I shouldn't be spending money on, this next one was one that I really had a hard time deciding to get, because I kind of listened to it in my first run through. I just was not a huge fan of it, thought it was kind of okay, but after listening to it 2 or 3 times over, I decided I'd give it a shot. And that's basically Pearl Jam Dark Matters. And this is the Record Store Day exclusive one, where it's kind of like almost like a leopard print, if you will. Kind of a cool pressing of it. As you can see, it's kind of a cool looking, hopefully you could see that. It's not too shiny on there, but very cool pressing of it. And the more I've listened to it, the more I really like the album. So I am happy that I eventually bought it. There are still some more available out there, but they are becoming more and more difficult to find. So next one up is one by Willie Nelson, and big reason why I didn't want to get this one, or decided I wasn't going to get this one, was basically because I had recently bought one, probably 4 or 5 months ago tops, and that's basically Willie Nelson Phases and Stages. And the one that I bought previously, I think it was cut by Chris Bellman. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was cut by Chris Bellman. So, and I thought it sounded really good. It was a clear vinyl. So, I didn't feel that I necessarily needed to buy another version of this album, even though it's really good. But the other thing that I really liked about it as well is that it does have basically a second record of unreleased or previously unreleased tracks, or bonus tracks, if you will. And this one was actually cut by Ryan Smith. So it'll be interesting to hear how much of a difference there is between the Chris Bellman cut and the Ryan K. Smith one. This one supposedly was cut from the Analog Stereo Master. I don't know if the Chris Bellman one was, because there's really nothing indicating that there was. Usually they do that. I just don't know what the case was on this particular one. But so that was the reasoning behind that one. The last one, and certainly not least, was one from one of my favorite jazz artists. And if you know me at all about Record Store Day stuff especially, you know that I tend to try to stay away from live recordings, especially live recordings that were previously unreleased or recently found, or any of that kind of stuff. And this one kind of falls into that category, so I was a little bit concerned about it. And I still haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, so my concerns are still there, but I had a hard time passing this one up, because for a record box set in this day and age, considering how expensive vinyl is, it was relatively cheap per record in comparison to a lot of other box sets that are coming out. So, especially ones that come out on Record Store Day. And the label, I think it's Renaissance, they usually do a pretty good job, and they usually get good quality recordings. So it's pretty rare that I've found that they have releases that don't sound very good. So, and it was mastered or cut by Bernie Grunman as well, so that helps. And limited edition too, I got, and this one I don't remember, I can't read because my glasses I don't have near me, but I want to say that, I know it's a limited edition, but I know that I got, it looks like, no, it's a low number, 737 or 757. But 4-record set live in Europe, supposedly the only recordings of his 1959 trio. And I love Sunny Rollins, so I had to break down and buy that one. So those are all of the Record Store Day ones I got. I do want to say one other thing, though, that I didn't bring it on to show, but I did have one huge disappointment, and I'm still waiting to hear back from Epic Records, and I'm hoping that I do. I'm not too optimistic I'm going to, though, but if you saw my previous video, I got the G-Love and Special Sauce 30th Anniversary reissue, and it had an issue, and it was an issue that I returned the first one, and I actually got 2 more of them from different stores. So I basically bought 3 different copies from 3 different stores from 3 different parts of the country. And the problem is, on the second to the last song on the third side, there's this weird bumping sound, almost like a scratch, but there's no scratch there, or a big bump in the pressing, and can't see anything visually there. But it did make the song skip a little bit, and then you hear a loud thump that's about as loud as the actual music itself, if not a little louder. So very disappointed about that. All 3 copies did the exact same thing. So like I said, I've got an email into Epic Records. If any of you guys know of a good way to get in contact with Epic besides just on their website to try to get these things resolved. Don't know if they're going to be because it was a limited pressing. But anyway, any of you guys that have your G-Love and you haven't listened to it yet, listen to it, see if you have the same problem. I would be pretty surprised if you don't. Let me know if you have it and you've heard it and you didn't have that, or if you did too. I'd love to hear your take on that. So love to see your comments below. So that is everything I have for my Record Store Day follow-up. If you liked what you saw here, hit that like button. I want to thank you for subscribing if you subscribe. If you don't, please do so. I love seeing new subscribers. And if you have any comments, please leave them below like I mentioned earlier. And if you want to know when my new videos come out, hit that alert bell. So that's everything I have. So I want to thank you very much for watching. And you guys have yourself a great rest of your day. And have a great rest of your week.